editing shapes is essential in Illustrator. In this section, you'll learn how to draw and edit simple shapes. To follow along, open this file from the practice files you downloaded. And once your document is open, to make sure you can see all of the artwork, choose View, Fit Artboard and Window. Now to start, you'll select the shape. So select the Selection tool in the Tools panel on the left, and then click in this white triangle shape to select it. You'll learn how to draw a few types of simple shapes like this triangle, and then by the end you'll be able to add shapes to create the robot on the right. Now you should see a box around the triangle. This is called the bounding box. This is important for editing shapes and it should be on by default. If you don't see a bounding box, choose View, Show Bounding Box. If you see a Hide Bounding Box in the View menu, you're all set. Now you'll draw your first shape, a rectangle. In the Tools panel on the left, click to select the Rectangle tool. Bring the pointer out into the document window and move it around. As you move it, you might see these magenta lines. These are smart guides and they help you align content. If you don't see them, choose View, Smart Guides to turn them on. Now starting on the dashed line here, press and drag to create a rectangle. As you draw with the Shape tool with those smart guides on, you'll see a small gray label appear that gives you measurements like width and height. This shows the size of the shape you're creating. Release the mouse button to create a rectangle. Now most of the shapes you draw are called live shapes, which means you can resize and move them without switching tools. For instance, to resize this shape you just drew, move the pointer over one of the corners of the rectangle, and when the pointer changes, click and drag to reshape it, making it about the size of the dotted line behind it. As you drag, watch for this diagonal magenta guide. This indicates that it's a perfect square. When you see it, release the mouse button to make the rectangle a square. You can also press the Shift key while dragging to make a square. Now notice the small widgets in each corner of this shape. Dragging any of these with the shape selected will let you create rounded corners. So drag any one of these corner widgets toward the center of the shape just a little to round the corners. You'll actually find that most of the shapes you draw will have options like these corner widgets. Let's try creating another shape. To see other shape tools, press and hold on the Rectangle tool in the Tools panel on the left to show the Shape menu. Then select the Polygon tool. Starting roughly in the center of this dotted triangle, click and drag to make a shape. Shapes you create with this tool are drawn from the center. When the shape is about this size, press and hold the Shift key to straighten it. Release the mouse button, and then the Shift key. Polygons also have shape options like rectangles. For instance, this side widget controls the number of sides on a polygon. So drag this side widget up until the shape has 3 sides. To move a shape with a drawing tool selected, you can drag it from this little circle in the center and position it where you need. Now the last type of shape you'll create is a circle. So press and hold on the Polygon tool in the Tools panel and select the Ellipse tool. Down here, drag to create a circle. And as you drag, watch for these hinting crosshairs, which mean a perfect circle. Release the mouse button when you see them, and the circle is roughly the size you see here. Lastly, you'll create this triangle shape by copying and pasting the triangle you already drew. So select the Selection tool in the Tools panel on the left, and click the triangle you created. To copy it, choose Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste. Drag the new triangle down here. Now to resize this triangle, drag the point on the right side to the left so that it's narrower first. Then drag the top point down to make it a little bit shorter. Finally, drag the shape onto these dotted guides. Now that you have some experience with shapes in Illustrator, you can continue to explore by creating the shapes for this robot, which consists of rectangles, circles, and polygons. The dotted guides will help you to see which shapes to create where. These donut shapes are actually composed of 2 circles, a smaller circle on top of a larger circle. The smaller circle has a red fill color. You'll learn about changing the color of shapes in the video on changing the color of artwork. In this lesson, you'll learn how to draw a line with the Line Segment tool. You'll also learn what a path is made of. If you want to follow along, you can open this document from the practice files for this tutorial. You'll start out by adding some branches and a trunk to this tree. To draw straight lines, you'll select the Line Segment tool in the Tools panel. So press and hold on the Shape tool you see here in the Tools panel. I see the Ellipse tool, you might see another Shape tool, and select the Line Segment tool. Come out into your design. To draw a line, you press and drag in the direction you want the line to go. So move the pointer into the tree shape. Press and drag down. Notice that you can move in just about any direction to create a straight line. Now the gray box you see that shows distance and angle is a measurement label. It can be really useful when you need to be more precise. When the line looks something like this, release the mouse. Now if you didn't see that gray label, choose View, Smart Guides to turn them on. In Illustrator, this line you drew is called a path. A path is made up of at least 2 anchor points. You can see them here on the ends of the line. And a line segment connecting those anchor points. We can create all kinds of paths in Illustrator. Straight paths or lines, curved paths, and a whole lot more. After drawing this line, you can easily edit it without having to switch tools. To edit the direction and length of this line, move the pointer over the bottom end of the line. Click and drag, and you'll see that you can move one of the points. As you drag, press the Shift key, and the line will be constrained to 45 degrees. When it's straight up and down, release the mouse button, and then the key. Now to change how thick the line is, you can change what's called the stroke weight in the Properties panel to the right of the document. Change the stroke weight to 2 by clicking the up arrow here. Now you'll create a few more lines that will become the branches of the tree. Move the pointer over the line you just drew, somewhere in the tree. Press and drag to create a small line like you see here. Draw one more so you have 2. Now you'll make a copy of a line and move it below the buildings. Select the Selection tool and click to select the first line you drew, the trunk of the tree. To copy it, choose Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste. We want this line to be straight across horizontally. It's going to go right below these buildings. So to rotate a line, move the pointer just off of one end of the line. And when you see a little rotate arrow appear, click and drag to rotate the line. When the line is perfectly horizontal, release the mouse button. Now to move a line you've drawn, you can drag it from this center point. So drag the line down below these buildings. To make the line longer, drag the right end of the line to the right. You'll see those magenta lines again called Smart Guides. They're indicating that you're making the line longer. You're extending it. Now you'll change the stroke weight and the color of this line. With the line still selected, change the stroke weight in the Properties panel on the right to 16 by choosing 16 from the menu. To change the color of the line, click the Stroke Color in the Properties panel. Click this Swatches button so that you can see a bunch of colors called swatches you can choose from, and then select an orange. Now that you know how to create and edit lines, you can practice creating them by adding to these buildings. Maybe try to add some lines to this window, even changing the stroke color and stroke weight in the Properties panel to the right.